Hello. I found these in the bin recently. They're Dura Ace M or 7900. I had a hard time actually finding any indication of the model on the shifter, and then I just realized it was a tiny little. I'll zoom in actually to show. Tiny little marking right here on the side, and my one's actually got glue covered over it. But you could easily miss it. I'm not sure why this was put in the bin, other than the collar to go onto the handlebar is missing. They actually seem to be working. I've actually been dabbing around with it and having a bit of fun, opening up the side covers to have access or gain access to the shifter mechanism. I quite like the fact that they changed it to this position here. It makes the process of replacing the actual lever itself a lot easier, as normally the mechanism in the older shifters were at the front. And what I really like as well is that on the you have quite a bit of access on the side, so you can easily clean these. And actually removing the front derailleur side, let's say, is probably the easiest one. On the other side, however, it's a little bit more complicated. So I don't think this is worth making a video on dismounting everything on this and then rebuilding it, as I just don't see why you would have such a big deal with doing that. There are two springs. I've actually removed one. There's one on the back of this part which you can actually hook up and screw down from the back here. And otherwise there's also, when you're going to take off this cover, a spring which is located right there. It's a large black one, and it presses against the cover. If you do start to actually work on these, it's kind of annoying getting these back into the correct position. The type of, I don't know what you would call this, some kind of arms attached to the sprocket. You have to actually go behind and click things in a certain position to get them to click back down again. Anyway, once now that I've rambled a little bit, I thought what would be probably the most interesting on this, and likely one of the parts that people want to replace, is the actual arm. So you can actually take them off quite easily. There's a tiny little kind of E-clip that's located on the side here that you need to first take off, and there's a specific tool for that. We're going to try and do it without that tool though. And yes, take it off and put it back on, and I probably will sell these as for parts. Without looking at the manual, I know you can actually find one online. I believe that the little clip is on this side for the front derailleur shifter. Now, since my one, your one might be as well, the little clip here is not in the right position. We actually want rather the opening to be on this side, so that way when we push it, it's going to go up here. On this angle, it's a little bit harder. So I'm just using a knife. Anything flat-ended, and you'll want to spin the clip to be on this side of the opening. So you can just about see that I'm moving something. Yeah, I reckon that's quite good there, how it is. You'll just look underneath there. You'll see the two tips of the let's say the fork of the E-clip. I'm going to use this pin tool. It seems to be very good to just get behind there. It is a bit tricky though. Even with a flathead screwdriver, you want to make sure you don't damage the plastic exterior here, and you'll need something quite thin. In fact, mine's already surfacing there. I seem to have removed it a little bit. I just got it. Unfortunately, I didn't capture on camera because it actually flickered off. Maybe do this somewhere where it's less likely to be lost. Although I don't think that would be very hard to find another one. Next thing we need to do is remove the pin that's going across the lever. So to do that, you might need to use quite a bit of force if it's quite stuck. I would suggest to put something on the other side, so that whatever you're pressing on, the pin's going to be able to easily come out, and avoid damaging as well your shifter. I'm going to see if I can start to move it just with this knife. Alright, it's actually coming out already. So it looks like it's come out enough. I think I'm going to now just grab a plier and pull it out. Ah, there you go. Okay, so the arm's now starting to release. I'm just going to hold it down. The spring right there is kind of pushing this out of the way, so just for my own reference as well, we have that spring part there. I think you might need to remove on the interior here as well. There's this plastic part that's holding this, but let's see what happens first when I let go. There you go, I've got it off. It was actually the spring really holding this down. Let's keep undoing stuff and see what happens. So I'm guessing this is this whole unit needs to be bought. It's not just this part that can be bought separately. The reason I say that is because the kind of what is it? The axe, the pin that runs through here, doesn't come off. I've tried to take it off the back of it. There's no head, nothing. I tried to put it as well because I noticed on the actual mechanism, which I will show after, you can pull this out and that's not screwed down on anything. Right, for the mechanism here. Okay, so we got this part. This could potentially get broken, I guess. Be interesting for someone to remove. And we've got this last part. There's actually a little bit of threading in here. That's originally why I actually opened this up in the first place. There was some threading stuck in here and it was stopping it from moving essentially. If you zoom in very closely, there's a pull right there. And that pull can be removed. If you you need to take off though the pin that's there, or it's actually going to be located. Where is it again? It's there. You need to I can't remember how you take it out now. I think you just need to lift up going towards this way and then it comes out. And behind that pull you have this spring. So it's putting it back in place. Now obviously the spring here, I've removed the little parts that were holding this down. I might put them back on. I'm going to give everything a little quick clean and then we can put this back on. Hopefully it's really quick, so I'll show you how to do that. I don't really feel like spending hours today on doing this. I just certainly don't have the time, and I have many other projects that I'd rather spend time on. Of course, I'm not suggesting that you do all this, but once the dirt's in here, what happens is it's obviously grinding away the metal, and I can actually see when I'm taking this off, there's little bits of metal, simply because it's just dirty and it's metal on metal friction. Be careful when you're cleaning and even removal. There's actually a little barrel here that came out of this and I didn't notice that straight away when I was taking it off earlier. So I've pretty much cleaned everything now as much as I wanted to anyway. You can go further. I'm going to add on definitely some grease between these little parts here and then I'll show you how to put it on. Grab these two parts, one with the arm and the one with I don't know, smaller little arm there. This is going to seat into here. Now you're going to see there's that pull there. You want that to go in front of this. So I'm going to do that now. And then you'll have this very thin part and that's going to go over the top here. So you'll see that this part there, that little arm, you want that to be laying flat on the side there. So the best way to do that is to recline that pull back and it should lay flat now. We're going to try and put all this into the body, the main body, together. So this part here, I believe, is going to go something like this in. So if you imagine, you'll see there's that little pointy part facing towards where my finger's moving. That's going to go there. I think it needs to be like this, so we're going to try and get it in like that. Otherwise, we can put it more flat or in another position like this. I mean, this can always be reclined backwards. The main important though is getting this in now, because it's harder to do it after, I noticed. Now on the on this part, there's a spring. It was this one. I actually lost this and then I found it again. So there's that hook part, and there's going to be a small little hole right there. There you go, got it on. Now this pin, this spring, you want it to be done now and not later. You need to insert it, because after it's going to be impossible. And eventually the spring is going to go, where's that hole there, the back right there. So when we're going to slide this in, you want to aim for that spring to go towards there. Okay, let me check if I got that spring in there. Yes, perfect. So now normally, yeah, everything looks good. We're going to run that pin through, holding the all the mechanism in place. Put a bit of grease on that pin as well. So that's one through, the other one's through. One's moved out of place, that part right there. I need to get that back in. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to take this out again. Okay, it's going. I think I got it. Yeah, it's in. And now we can push that back. Come on. Okay. Okay, it's all gone in. Perfect. Initially, I didn't show you how I removed this, but I mean, it's just a metallic plate that's holding a thing. So we've got this tiny spring, and that's going to go behind the pull, which I believe is located there. There. And the other hook of that spring is going to latch onto that part there of the metal, and the other end of that spring is going to be pushed down by this plate. I don't know how hard that's going to be. Now, unfortunately, I didn't see how this was held on originally, because this had been come off. So either it's hooking over it, or it's holding onto a little bit there. You'll probably, if your one's still on there, you'll be able to tell. I'm going to hook it on like this for now. It's like in that position, so I don't know if mine's been bent out of or whatnot. So I think it's these two black screws. I did this a while ago now. I've completely forgotten what these were being held down with. They seem to be going there though. And once you've done that, there's another bit of plastic that goes over this. The spring's kind of pushing this down, so hopefully that's not going to be a big deal. We've got that big spring, so that top part there, the little spike, that spring's going to go on the spike. The other end of the spring is going to push down on, it's kind of like a plastic spike on the cover. So you need to aim for that, and we're going to push down the cover, and then we're going to screw everything. Like so. There's some little bits there that you need to kind of push in. Bits of plastic. Mine are kind of mangled, but I've got it to fit. Right, now let's get the screw on. There's going to be a screw there. And by the way, don't test this beforehand, this part, because firstly it's not going to work very well without the plastic covers on, but also once you click this up, if that moves, this plastic cover, this then gets stuck and then you can't put it back on. You have to redo everything again, take off everything, so warning. And then you got this tiny, I think it's a Torx 5 that's going to screw down here. That'll do for me. So now you should be able to test this. So mine's not working very well because of the spring, which I think I've kind of messed up. But it does seem to be clicking though, so that's a good sign. Yeah, I think it's working. Just not this part. Let's screw the cover back on. So I think the larger screw went that side. And on the other side you've got this one. By the way, on both of these ends the threading's a lot finer. And then for the larger threaded one, that goes right there. Okay, done. For the finale, we're going to slip that back into our, I don't know, the holder on the brake arm. And once you've done that, I'll zoom in. That tip of the spring is going to go into the hole right there. To get that in, I'd say the best way is to lower it down towards where the hole is going to be, and without this arm coming out. And then after we can kind of slide it in. There you go, it's popped in. So I'm going to re-raise it up. Yeah, cool. Now I just need to put that pin through. I've put a little bit of grease on the pin to help it slide through easier. So the, I don't know, the part without the groove is going towards this end of where we're pushing it in. So we're pushing it in from the right if we're looking at it face on. Hopefully this will just go in kind of easily. But they're never that easy to get in, are they? And I think we got it all through. Right, let's get that E-clip in. There you go. Now we just need to push it down a bit harder of an angle. I'm going to try and do it like this. Yeah, it's gotten perfect. Now you can test it. Should be good though. So my spring's not working, but if you hold it down like that, it's definitely clicking and fine. Just that issue, unfortunately. So the brake lever for the 7-speed side is pretty much the same, except the E-clip's going to be on the other side, I believe, to remove. Should I do the mechanism on this? I'm going to find out if I can remove this without having to take all this off. But before I do that, I'm going to clean all of this gunk so I've got a better visual. I've decided to do it. Let's to unscrew all these parts here. It looks like there's a screw to undo there, and that's like the axle that's going through all the parts in the mechanism. So it's a flat-headed screwdriver right there. Looks like to work on this you're going to need to remove the arm. You can't take this out otherwise. In fact, one of the other end, there's this kind of female part and it fed out. So it looks like I'm going to need to push it from this way to extract this part out. The little E-clip for this side will be on the, let's say, the left if we're facing that way. It's again the same procedure as the 3-speed. Okay, it's out. Okay, that's come off. Yeah. I tried to removing the pin from the other side and they keep getting stuck, so I'm just going to get a hammer to finish removing it. I'm also going to hold the lever for now. Let's see where we are. Okay, it's come out much more now. There you go. There you go, it's pulled out, much easier. And we can take everything off. Now the kind of axe that's holding all these parts together, I've already unscrewed that like I did previously normally, if I recorded it properly. And so this part came out, like the female two flat-headed nut, and the screw doesn't seem to want to come out, so maybe I'm going to need to push it out. I've been at it now for probably 20 minutes trying to knock out the axe from here. It's really stuck, and in fact I'm starting to damage the plastic inside here, which is eventually going to hold that two-sided flat-headed nut, and which will kind of make it pointless really if that other part doesn't hold the axe after once you put it back together. Yeah, so I don't know how to remove that one without physically damaging it. It's in a very annoying position as well. There really is only one way of doing it. It's like pressing it very hard. When we're going to put the lever back in, you'll see that part right there. That needs to go in front of this part. And you also need to have that part there sliding back into the plastic holder. We're going to need to get the other tip of that spring, this one, back into the little hole there. So I'm going to do like I did on the last one. So we're going to put this part into its holder on the lever. And once you've done that, we're going to raise this so that we have access to the spring slightly, as close as it is to the hole as possible, because there's going to be, well, it's going to be very hard to get in, isn't it? I'm going to lift it up a little bit with a flat-headed bit so that I can grab it then with a plier, and hopefully I can just kind of bend it into there. Okay, so now I've got it with the plier. Hopefully it doesn't slip. Okay, I've got it quite enough in. I think that's going to hold for the moment. So holding that all in now for the moment, as I said before, we need to get that little part there to flicker in front of this part. Oh no, I think the spring just slipped. Oh no, it's nice, alright. So I think I've got that underneath. There you go, so it's triggering. Let me check that the spring's stayed in. No, it's good, it's in. Right, so I think we've got everything now, and we can slide the pin back inside here. Now to help the pin slide in nice and more easier, put some grease on. You might need to push down a bit. I've just got it all in now. There you go, and that way it can go in properly. Before you put the E-clip back on, make sure that it's fully working again. Let's reinstall the E-clip. Tell you what, you need some patience for this one. I got it. I got it. I think I've covered everything now that I can do on these shifters. You can, I'm sure, figure out how to put back these covers on. Failed attempt on the for the rear derailleur side, but a failed attempt is an attempt nonetheless. So thank you for listening, and until next time, peace out.